Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Senang Senang, where this channel discusses lifestyle, fashion, healthy sports, and a person's activities both indoors and outdoors. Disclaimer: in what was made, there was no intention to harass or demean anyone. This video is completely taken from a legal live streaming application platform and of course has terms and conditions. Not to live carelessly, including nudity, violence, smoking, and anything that is prohibited as prohibited by the YouTube platform itself. Video uploaded by Senang Senang, purely from editing with its own narrative to increase our insight and intelligence in thinking. Enjoy for watching.
This is the story of a housewife whose husband is leaving her. Instead of relaxing, she does her daily activities by cleaning household furniture, sweeping, and cooking. There used to be an employee in my office. From now on, let's call her Mrs. Mariam. I had never seen Mrs. Mariam before, so I thought she was a new staff. It was a bit odd, because as far as I know, newcomers are usually young. Mrs. Mariam is actually not that old. I estimate her age to be around 35 years old. Her build is petite and not fat, so maybe that's the factor that makes her look older than her age. Even so, Mrs. Mariam is very friendly. He smiles easily. Occasionally, I have time to meet in the toilet. He did not hesitate to give a smile to people he didn't even know. Since then, I have been obsessed with the figure of Mrs. Mariam. One day I met Mrs. Mariam in the prayer room. We had both finished praying. This time we didn't just exchange smiles, but Mrs. Mariam also invited me to chat, just small talk. From there I knew she was not a new employee, but she just moved divisions, previously on the second floor. Then she moved to the same floor as my division. At that time we didn't chat much and went back to our respective rooms. But at least I came to know that she was polite and had a very smooth way of speaking. One day I met Mrs. Mariam in the prayer room. We had both finished praying. This time we didn't just exchange smiles, but Mrs. Mariam also invited me to chat, just small talk. From there I knew she was not a new employee, but she just moved divisions, previously on the second floor. Then she moved to the same floor as my division. At that time we didn't chat much and went back to our respective rooms. But at least I came to know that she was polite and had a very smooth way of speaking. Mrs. Mariam de M-I-D-S-S. Morning, Miss Mariam. So early in the morning? M. Morning, Miss Y. Yes, Miss S. Where do you live, ma'am? M. In Megamendung, ma'am. S. Megamendung Bogor. The one who wants to go to the peak? M. Yes, ma'am. Blushing. S. Stairs. For your information, my office is in Sakini, Central Jakarta. Mrs. Mariam's house is in Megamendung. Yes, that's right. Megamendung Bogor, 70 km from Jakarta. For your information, my office is in Sakini, Central Jakarta. Mrs. Mariam's house is in Megamendung. Yes, that's right. Megamendung Bogor, 70 km from Jakarta. To give you an idea, this is the distance from my house, Cibubur, to Megamendung. I once toured Puncak by motorbike. Going down and down felt like I didn't have a butt. My whole body felt numb. It's really cool, sis. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, can you imagine how long Mrs. Mariam's journey from home to the office takes? Not yet? Okay, let's continue the chat. S. So what do you take to the office? M. The train, ma'am. S. What time do you leave home, ma'am? M. 4 o'clock, ma'am, because it's still an hour from my house to the station. If it's dawn, there's no traffic jam yet. I'm catching the first train. S. Bases Part 2 Sil. At 4 o'clock, the muezzin probably hadn't even left the house, let alone me. I was probably fighting with the alarm. But she had already left to earn a living, accompanied by her husband on a motorbike to the station. Another question is, if she left at 4 o'clock, what time did she wake up? M. I have to wake up at 3:30, sis, to prepare food for my husband and children. At 2:30, I was still dreaming about Megan Tara that time. Sir or madam, can you imagine how tired it is to be a mother? Not yet? Should we continue? We continued our conversation. It turned out that Mrs. Mariam had 2 children. The first had just entered elementary school, and the youngest was 3.5 years old. It was not uncommon for the youngest child to be cranky in the middle of the night, which required Mrs. Mariam and her husband to take turns staying up late. Even though Mrs. Mariam had to wake up at 2:30 for state duties. Additional information: my normal office hours are until 17:30. However, if I am required to work overtime, it is only limited to 19:30. One day, Mrs. Mariam worked overtime, and the train had problems. She was only able to catch the train at 9 p.m. For me, whose house is still in Jakarta, I might still be able to find alternative transportation. But not Mrs. Mariam. She said that the train had many problems along the way, and she only arrived at Bogor station at 12 midnight. She arrived home at 1 a.m. She slept for less than 2 hours and had to get ready to go to the office again. I'm sorry. Cooking rendang with Mrs. Mariam's sleeping hours still takes a long time to cook rendang. Mrs. Mariam's struggle is beyond my comprehension. How strong a mother is who is forced by circumstances to multitask. In normal circumstances, no overtime and smooth trains, Mrs. Mariam can arrive home at 9 p.m. That's my bedtime, but not hers. If her child hasn't slept yet, she must still have to take care of her family first, not to mention the housework. The idea of a working mother going straight to bed when she gets home is impossible. Not to mention if there is a family member who is sick. It can be said that a mother is the most tired person, both mentally and physically. Maybe that's where the anecdote "being a mother means you can't get sick" came from. This is also what makes me try as much as possible not to complain in front of my mother when I'm sick. Because seeing my mother running around taking care of me, it feels more painful than the illness itself. I am sure that deep down, if she could choose, Mrs. Mariam would not want to be in a situation like that. A situation that forced her to leave her child for hours. She also expressed how guilty she felt when she came home from work and saw her children were already asleep. She envied other mothers who could accompany their children all day. If other mothers felt annoyed when their children were naughty, she missed it very much. For her, time with her child was an unpaid treasure. From here, I am unable to imagine what background made her need a job so much. It is not my domain to go further to find out. Infinite salute to Mrs. Mariam. As a working mother who receives income, she also never forgets her unpaid job, being a mother. Now Mrs. Mariam has resigned. I hope his condition is much better. I hope that this has satisfied your curiosity about how tired your mother, Mrs. Mariam, and other mothers are. Their work is 24 hours, and they are not paid. Of course, they can be that strong because of the support of their husbands and great families. So for the laid-back people who still like to complain about being tired of this and that, I hope your tiredness becomes tired.
Kabur dari utang. Nyapu satu kali, nyapu dua. Rawat yang beli dibeli sudah banyak beli. Nanti lagi ya. Nanti lagi ya. Truk menyuci. Bye 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 bye.